10 things you may have heard about making progress in the gym that aren't true. We're going to look at the myth and we're going to look at what the fact is. I'm Rachel, personal trainer and online coach, and over the last 6 years, I've helped countless women get fit, strong, and feel better and more confident in themselves. And hearing these things grates on me. So let's get into it. Number 1, if you want to be toned, you need to do high reps with a low weight. And I think this has just been around for years. I think it's like the big weights are for the men, the little weights are for the women. Men should lift heavy and do low reps. Women should use light weights and do loads of reps. This isn't true. If you're still believing that you need to do high reps with a low weight, that is why you're still stuck. Because you may possibly just be wasting your time. Don't get me wrong, you can still do high reps. And if you're using a weight that is appropriate, that you are pushing yourself close to failure, that can still be effective. But why would you waste loads of time doing more and more reps, risk boredom from the repetitiveness of it, and run the risk of maybe not quite going heavy enough for the amount of reps you're doing, when you could lift heavier for less reps, get through your session a bit quicker, and make more progress? You can make progress between 5 and 30 reps, but you just need to use a weight that is appropriate for the rep range you are using. And also, not every exercise is conducive to super high reps. So you want to be thinking about bigger compound lifts that may be more fatiguing or may run the risk of hitting failure sooner or form going sooner, sticking at a lower rep range and saving the higher reps for more isolation-based movements. Lateral raises, leg extension, things like that. Number 2 is linked to number 1, the belief that if you lift heavy weights, you are going to get bulky. Not true. It is so difficult to get bulky. Often, if you think you're getting bulky, the chances are it's a body fat issue. It's not you've gained muscle at an exponential rate from all the heavy lifting you've been doing. So if you keep your diet in check and you lift heavy, you're not going to get bulky, you're just going to look great. Like I just said in the previous point, we want to be lifting as heavy as possible for the rep range we're using. So heavy is still subjective, but as long as you are pushing yourself whilst you are lifting, that is going to be effective and it is not going to make you bulky. Number 3, being sore and being sweaty are good indicators of having a good workout. Not true. We're often sore if we have been lifting because maybe we're doing an exercise we've not done for a while. Maybe we're doing an exercise that's particularly stretching the muscle under load. Certain movements just seem to elicit more of a response in that way than others. But it's not something you should be striving for. Do not worry if you are not sore after a workout. Because even with week 1, because it's movements you've not done for a while, or whatever, you're feeling sore, you actually don't want to be sore every time you go in. It's also going to hinder your recovery. Soreness is not an indicator, and how sweaty you are. How sweaty you are is dependent on so many factors, even just something as simple as how warm the gym is, how dehydrated you are or hydrated you are. There are so many factors that impact how much you will sweat during a workout. The effectiveness of it is not one of them. Some of the most effective workouts I have, I don't break a sweat. Because especially again when we're thinking of lifting and we're resting and we're recovering, you've not got the chance to have a super high heart rate for a while and to sweat loads. So those are not what determines a good workout. What determines a good workout is how much it is aligned to your goals, whether you are pushing yourself, you are using appropriate weights, you are resting appropriately, you've got a balanced workout, you're being consistent. Those are the things that determine how good a workout is, not how much you sweat or how sore you are. Statement number 4, you need to keep your muscles guessing. I hear this so often. Oh, I need to just change my workout. Oh, I'm doing something different this week because, I want to keep my muscles guessing. I want to shock my muscles. Your muscles don't need shocking. We can't shock them. They actually need the opposite. Your muscles need consistency to see progress. This is why we bang on about being repetitive with movements, so that you can see from week 1 to week 6, week 12, week 52 that you have made progress because you are lifting with better form, you are lifting more weight, you are doing more reps. That is what matters in terms of progress, not doing something different each time. If you do something different each time, you're not able to get a grasp on how much progress you're making. So linking back to the previous point, yes, you might then get sore each week because you're doing something different, but you're not actually able to see the changes and the progress that you're making. Number 5, similar to number 3, a high calorie burn is what you need. And if you don't have a high calorie burn, you've not had a good workout. Could not be further from the truth. Your calorie burn, when it's on things like watches and monitors and things like that, is way overestimated anyway, and it's based on factors such as heart rate. So just like we were saying before, if your heart rate is not getting super high because you're resting more, it's not going to show a big calorie burn. But that's not what matters. The calories burnt in the session is not what matters. Calories burnt generally is not what matters. If you want to make progress in terms of your physique, yes, we need to manage calories, but that's not done through exercise. It's done through your nutrition. Your exercise is there to build your body. We don't need your workout to burn loads of calories for it to be effective for your goals. It's not even something you need to pay any attention to. And I remember this in doing classes, and I think people really like to see they've had such a big calorie burn on their watch because it ties into this narrative of, well, I can eat more now, or I can do this, or I can justify all these behaviours. It's not the mindset or the attitude that you want when you're trying to build a physique that you want and build a lifestyle that you want and have a positive relationship with nutrition and exercise. Number 6, that a workout needs to be at least 60 minutes. Yes, we need sufficient time in our training session to get the things done that we need to get done, as well as rest appropriately to make progress, to push heavier, to push harder. But you can still have a great workout in 30 minutes to 40 minutes. You can even have a good workout in 20 minutes if that's all the time you have. It's less about what's generally optimal and more about what's optimal for you, what you can fit in and what you can do consistently. So don't feel like because people talk about an hour-long workout that if you can't do that somehow it's not worth you going to the gym. Again, that's the wrong attitude to have. Number 7, on a similar theme, that you need to work out 5-6 days a week, multiple training sessions, twice a day sessions. We're in this culture of the fitness influencer that's working out all the time, but you probably have a job and responsibilities and a life and friends and social things and hobbies. You don't need to be training that many times. If you like training and you have the time for that, have at it and structure it in a way where you're still getting the recovery that you need to make progress. I love training, it's my job. I'll quite often train 5-6 days a week because I like it, not because I think it's optimal to get me the results that I want. All you actually need is 2 to 3 sessions a week. You need at least 2 sessions lifting, 3 ideally if you can, and you can even tack on some cardio to that, or walking sufficient, or again, if you've got the time, we can structure in having some strength sessions and having some cardio sessions depending on your goals and what you enjoy doing. But it doesn't need to be 5, 6, 7 days. #team no days off. That's not what gets results, because you also need appropriate rest and recovery to get the results that you want as well. At the end of the day, training is another stress on the body. So if you have a very stressful job, a very stressful life, a lot of things going on, you don't need to add more to your plate that's going to create this stress overload Sometimes you actually need to scale it back in order to make the progress that you want to make. Number 8, that you need to do cardio for fat loss. Don't get me wrong, I think cardio is so important. I love cardio. I love factoring running now into my training, but I do it from a fitness point of view and from a performance and challenging myself point of view. Some of my clients don't do cardio. They just walk a lot. And again, it comes down to what your goals are, what your time availability is, and what you enjoy doing. No two ways about it. If you want to get fitter, you want to improve your cardiovascular health, then adding some form of cardio in will be optimal for that. But you do not need it for fat loss. It is not the answer to achieve more fat loss. It can be a part of that puzzle, but just churning out more and more hours of cardio, thinking that'll get more results, that's not true. For fat loss, what we want to be doing is focusing on nutrition, strength training to build muscle and sculpt and do all that stuff, and having some activity in terms of steps, so just movement, and then cardio can play a part in that to increase our activity levels a little bit more. But we get this almost like a bit of a bell curve where it's optimal to a point, and then too much is just counterproductive. It can make you hungrier, it can make you more stressed, it can just add more to your plate. So cardio should be used appropriately when it comes to fat loss. Number 9, the more exercises you have in a session, the better. There is this real misconception with a lot of things fitness that more is better. More days, more sessions, more exercises, more hours, more, and then less food. And if you want to make progress, the key thing is that you are doing exercises within your training session that are optimal and effective and balanced over the week. So depending on how many days you can train will determine the exercise selection, how that will be split. That's what matters. 4 to 6 exercises can be more than adequate to get the results that you want. Again, we've got to look at time frame, we've got to look at a number of variables, but more is not better in many ways with your fitness goals, fat loss goals, physique goals. Because what often happens is women will create more of like a circuit and they will rush through exercises to tick a lot of things off, or oh, I'm here at the gym, I may as well add this in, I may as well add this in, and the exercise list just becomes ridiculous. And really what we want to do is have effective quality movement where you've got the time to build the weight, push hard, rest appropriately. That's what matters. And finally, number 10, that simple exercises are just for beginners. I hear this a lot, that, oh, that program isn't advanced enough for me. The exercises that beginners do are no different from people who have been lifting for years. Yes, there are slightly more advanced techniques and things you might do and slightly more challenging variations, but the simple basics is what gets results. And I almost don't like the word simple and basics because it gives this connotation that you almost don't think you're going to get a result from something that is simple and basic. But actually the reality is those are the exercises. The basics are what should fill 80 to 90% of your training programs, week in, week out, same movements, just different rep ranges, different order, slight variations, different sets, maybe a machine variation, a cable variation, a dumbbell variation. Hope this helps. Let me know. See you in the next video.